Hello, football faithful. Welcome back to another episode of Eagles Talk with Deeg. My name is Brendan Deeg. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. If you can also rate the podcast and review the podcast wherever you do listen to your podcast, would also be greatly appreciated. Today's episode has two sponsors. We're going to start with Manscaped. Ho, 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 gentlemen. The holidays came early here at Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand. Manscaped just launched the new products, including their all-new premium body wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give yourself or someone who needs it the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use code DOINK, D-O-I-K, DOINK for 20% off and free shipping. Untrimmed pubes are a thing of the past, and it's possible you have Santa's beard in your pants. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer has proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to reduce your cuts on your nuts. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, and anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturizer, and toner. It's time to keep your North Pole feeling and smelling fresh. Get 20% off and free shipping using code DOINK, D-O-I-K, DOINK at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping using code DOINK at manscaped.com. Take your ball defense to the promised land with Manscaped. Today's episode is also sponsored by Coolbet. Coolbet is the most transparent gaming company in the world. Coolbet also provides the best odds in Canada with world-class customer service. For first-time users, use deposit code DOINK, D-O-I-N-K, DOINK, for a 100% welcome bonus up to $200 when signing up with Coolbet. That's code DOINK, D-O-I-N-K, DOINK, and Coolbet will match your first deposit up to $200. Give our friends at Coolbet Canada a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Coolbet Canada. Coolbet, stay cool, and bet responsibly. We're talking some Eagles football with my friend, my man, Gayle Saunders. Gayle, how we doing?
Man, I'm living the dream. I'm talking to Brendan Deeg. We're talking Eagles. This is life, right?
This is life, man. I was on a show. I was on a show with Gilles Gallant, who's my host of Touchdown Town about a week ago, and he was asking me, how the hell did I get so involved in Eagles Twitter? And I think big thanks has to go to you, man. You took a chance on me 5 years ago, 4th and Jawn, and I wouldn't be where I was without you. So just wanted to give you a thanks and appreciate you.
Man, I mean, you got the juice, man. You got the juice.
That is true. All right, let's talk some ball, Gayle. You were at the game. You were there. You saw it in person. Eagles win 40-29. That's the final score, I believe, right? 40-29.
Yeah, 40 burger, man.
Yeah, 40 burger. It was a big win. Eagles now are 5-6. We are right there in the wild card spot, but let's talk strictly this game before we kind of go big picture here. What was your big Jalen Hurts takeaway in this game? What did you think of him?
I think he managed the game pretty well. I think, some people might look at him escaping the pocket at sometimes and using his mobility, but and talking about him staying in the pocket. I'm a guy that I want him to see him progress to stay in the pocket. But again, the mobility is part of his game. Coming out of Oklahoma is his last year there, putting up 1,300 yards of rushing. This is him. This is part of his game. 3 touchdowns, the most rushed by Eagles quarterback ever. It was a solid performance, and I think if you give him a run game, it stabilizes the offense. Then you let Jalen do what he does best, and I think it opens up everything else for the Eagles offense. And the crowd loved it.
His rushing performance was spectacular. That was the best performance I've seen by a rushing quarterback in a while. I know we've seen some Lamar Jackson performances, but the way he's able, they do it in different ways. They're not similar runners, he's more flashy. Jalen Hurts is more physical, but they have very similar stats, and it was super impressive on the ground. In this game, Jalen Hurts had 18 carries for 69 yards and 3 touchdowns. And like you said, that just having the run game around him is so important. And he didn't make a lot of big throws, but he didn't have to. And I think in that one drive, he had 2 third-down long conversions to Dallas Goedert. And that's all they're asking him to do right now. And I think this performance is fine. I know the passing wasn't there, but overall, it was a great performance by him.
Well, you look at the beginning of the season, he's averaging 30-plus throws a game. Mm-hmm. And now he's around 20-plus throws a game. So, I mean, I'm cool with that. We're talking about winning football games. We're talking about, if it's important for his development, for him to grow, why wouldn't you want to see him develop? If you got him doing something where he's, defenses are now figuring out what he's doing, add the rush game, add some trickery, let him develop on his own time. I felt like he was the game plan early in the season really didn't make sense, but now it's starting to click a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk offense as a whole year. You mentioned it. Like, I'd still like to get to the bottom of what the hell happened for the first 7 weeks, but it's in the past, I guess. And or the first 6 weeks, there's no reason to kind of harp on it. That's something maybe we look at the end of the season because it is very weird, just a change in game plan. But right now, this game plan is clicking. The Eagles ran for 242 yards down the throats of the best defense, the best run defense in the NFL. I think they were fourth in defensive DVOA heading into that game in general. So they were one of the best defense in the NFL, not just in the run game. So this was super impressive. What did you make of the running back rotation? Did you think they did a fine job kind of splitting the carries? And what would you like to see going forward from the running back group?
I'm a big, big fan of Miles Sanders' work, his ability to break the home run ball and a home run. But over the last couple of weeks, the guys who have stabilized this running attack has been, Jordan Howard, Boston Scott. You like Jordan Howard's ability to work on the inside zone, one cut runner, get a field, move the pile, always fall forward for the most part. So, I think I like the stable now. And, at first I was like, I need 15 carries from Sanders. But for right now, I think, as Sanders, when you put the ball on the ground, you kind of like, all right, let him get his feet
that fumble
back.
was big, man. Like,
oh my God.
And he had another one too, right? Like that they stopped on forward progress. That should have been probably a fumble. I think that was a bad call. The Eagles kind of got lucky. But yeah, you're right. I kind of forgot about that. Those fumbles were huge.
He had some fumbles in his senior year at his junior year at Penn State. Mm-hmm. So you're just hoping that he's not going back to that. But it's going to take him a couple games to get back to himself. But overall, I'm feeling the stable. But we'll be without Jordan Howard this week. He's dealing with a knee sprain at the moment. So.
Yeah, it's going to be Miles Sanders. He's going to have to kind of take care of the workload. It's going to be him and Boston Scott, and we got the Giants coming up. We know Boston Scott loves the New York Giants. He loves playing that team. The fumbles was that could have been a big problem. I thought overall the offensive game plan was great. Like, I know that in the second half they kind of tailed off a little bit. Nick Sirianni's play calling kind of got conservative. He actually admitted in the press conference that his play calling did get conservative, and I like that. I like a coach that kind of admits that what he's doing wrong, and he's never been afraid to kind of admit his faults and his weaknesses. So I like that from him. But yeah, like overall, I thought the offense was great. Like 40 points, 33 on offense because we had the pick 6 from Darius Slay. So you can't go wrong with that. Like, it's just some offensive stats, like just over the last few weeks. So overall, the Eagles are 8th in offensive DVOA right now, which is spectacular. Like, if you told me before the year they would be 8th in offensive DVOA through 11 weeks, I would have signed up for that all day. They had Jalen Hurts now has 20 first down runs on third down. That's 6 more than any other player, so that's really good. 17 TDs and 1 turnover in the red zone. That's 4th best in the NFL. Like, this Jalen Hurts and this offense just as a whole is clicking very well.
Yeah, and we cannot forget the hogs up front. The big guys. You talk about them gelling at the right time. And I said earlier in the season, just you're passing all the time. You're taking these hits. Now we're delivering blows in the run game. We're showing some physicality. Now we're seeing the size of the left side of the line with Mailata and Dickerson. Those guys, aka the Big Ballpa. Mailata likes to call him, but they're coming together as a teamwork. They could be a WWE. A tandem tag team.
Well, there are mass men on that left side. Like, I would not want to be going against that left side of the Eagles offensive line right now.
I think it was Brian Westbrook who had mentioned, like, just he thought, back in the day when we talked about Runyon and Trey Thomas being big guys, he's like, look at what we have now. Then you go to the right side, you have the elder statesman Kelsey still pulling like nobody's business. He's out there on the move. And then you got to get hat tip to Jack Driscoll. And then Lane Johnson is back in his bag, and he's having some fun out there. So it's good to see them, as a unit, imposing their will.
Yeah, like this offensive line right now is you can argue is top 3 in the NFL, just the way they're able to move in the run game. I tweeted just about like an hour ago, Jack Driscoll right now, 20th offensive ranked guard on PFF. Like, he was drafted as an offensive tackle. I don't think the Eagles had in mind specifically him to play guard like in the future. And it looks like he's kind of gelled into that spot. Like, Jeff Stoutland deserves like a lifetime contract right now. He has done such a good job of getting this offensive line. Like, they're not fully healthy. Like, Brandon Brooks is out. Like, they were planning on having him all year, and he's not there on this offensive line. They're still moving people. Lane Johnson is playing out of his mind right now. He's probably one of the best offensive tackles, or is the best right tackle in the NFL. And like you said, the left side of the offensive line is huge, and they're doing a great job. Any more points in the offense before we move to the defense?
I think Devonta Smith, he's developing into his own.
Yeah.
I think, regardless of if the numbers aren't there in the pass game, like if Smitty's eating and working a lot of these top rated cornerbacks in the league, I mean, hey, we got Goddard coming into his own as well. We're seeing some development of some young players. So overall, I'm very excited with those two.
Yeah, like Dallas Goedert with that catch he had, and he's kind of like cuffing the ball with his hand. That was pretty cool. Yeah, Devonta Smith is he's playing out of his mind right now. He's basically their only wide receiver that's really getting open. It sucks to see kind of Jalen Reagor struggle right now, but Devonta Smith's picking up the workload. I think the offense as a whole going forward, it should be ran through Dallas Goedert, Kes Watkins, and Devonta Smith. Those are the only three guys they should be planning targets for, if that makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to force Jalen Reagor any more targets. You don't and this is coming from a guy that was all over Jalen Reagor in the draft. I really liked him, and it's been disappointing. I finally admitted to my buddy before the podcast yesterday, I said, I think I'm ready to call Jalen Reagor a bust. And it sucks to say. Hey. Like, look, man, they were punting the ball to him on purpose and kicking the ball to him on purpose, and he wasn't able to make any plays. That game kind of emphasized everything that's been going wrong with him.
That I think, again, like he was one of the guys that we had targeted and that the Eagles would probably draft, and they did draft him. But obviously we're all higher on Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson was not selected. But it is what it is. But the fact that I think mentally he's got to get there as a professional. And I was actually interacting with someone sent me a tweet this morning, and it had a tweet under, I guess, a former tweet of yours, and then it was Jalen's dad.
Oh man, Jalen Reagor's dad is like blows up my DMs once a week. And I don't know if I've said that before, but I've never replied to him. But he comes at me on Twitter. He is not afraid to go at people, and it's just not, like you said, it's not professional. It's weird.
Well, I do get this conversation a lot. I'm just like, there's a moment in time where you just have to just fall back and just do your thing. Like we've seen a lot of receivers here in the city, Aguilar, or just guys who have been in their head. And I feel like, especially with this fan base, I think it's just it's a recipe for disaster. If you're I just think you just need to fall back from social media and just do your thing.
Do you think it's just that though? Like the talent just doesn't look there right now. Like he doesn't have any juice. Like they were kicking the ball to him on purpose. Like they were begging him to make a play, and that's your first round pick from last year. Like, look, I get where you're coming from. I do think that there's some mental issues and stuff, and like the talent, like in college, like I was huge on him coming out of college. I wanted him over Justin Jefferson, which now I look like a complete idiot. Justin Jefferson's the second best wide receiver in the NFL right now, but still behind Devontae Adams, in my opinion. But like, I don't think the juice and the talent is just there from what a first-round pick should have been, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Devonta Smith as a route god, and you go back to, they're night and day players in that sense. And so if you're gonna, you talk about the screens. His dad was a little upset about the screens and how they're using him. But I mean, you have to figure out how to use them, and you gotta, like, as a front office, they got to figure it out.
No, for sure. I just think the offense, like you should be dialing up plays for Goddard, Watkins, and Smith in the passing game. Like those three guys should be the focal point. There's no need to if Reagor's open on the second read or something, by all means. But I just don't think there's a need to force the ball in his hands anymore. Before we move off the offense, I thought a stat that I thought was pretty cool. Eagles have controlled the clock 74 minutes and 59 seconds over the last two games in their two big wins. Like that's 60% of the clock. Like this is anti-Chip Kelly right now. Like we're going to hold on to the ball. We're going to possess it. We're going to run it down your throats. I think that should be the key going forward. It's time possession, running the ball. And they've been doing that. I think that's going to be really important going forward.
I mean, imposing your will, dictating to others versus, that's the vibe I'm with right now.
For 100%. All right, let's talk the defense here quick. The Eagles defense has played pretty well over the last 2 weeks. They are now 19th in defensive DVOA. They were 24th heading into last week, so big bump from the game against the New Orleans Saints. Look, I think the key to this defense is going to be takeaways. They have 4 takeaways in the last 2 games, which has been huge. Darius Slay is playing out of his damn mind right now. He is, in my opinion, top 3 cornerback in the NFL, maybe top 2 behind Jalen Ramsey. I still think Ramsey is playing at an extremely high level. But, man, like, this guy's been a game changer for this football team. When they traded for him, they were expecting, I don't know, this high a level, but they were expecting him to make some plays, get some interceptions, and he is doing everything that they've asked for and more. He is worth every single penny they have paid him.
Yeah, and there's some people out there on Eagles Twitter. I mean, there's a lot of mixed bag of opinions on the Eagles Twitter, but even from people that are in the media, we're doubting Slay's game. I mean, they don't call him Big Play Slay for nothing.
Yeah.
Kind of the vibe at our tailgates is usually the tomato pies that we have from Conchi Bakery is kind of the vibe we kind of like, things that we're thinking about. And we had there, we had Slay on a tomato pie for a reason.
I saw Jen Slay. You guys, did she end up coming through, or
you know what, she was looking for us, but she said she will be at the next tailgate.
Okay, gotcha.
So that will be pretty awesome. But
so you got to get another Slay tomato pie then going.
Oh, we got to slay the whole. We got to slay the whole tailgate out. Like, I'm gonna have posters done. You name it. But just overall, he's brought a vibe to this secondary. Into the defense in terms of making plays. You talk about guys like TJ Edwards stepping up and making plays. That playmaking ability, getting those turnovers, is something that we as fans have been longing for a couple of years. So we're seeing it. I know, it helps when the quarterbacks aren't elite. But hey, you only can play who you play. And I thought overall it was a game changer play by Darius Slay.
Yeah, like he's had 3 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks, I believe. 2 of those have been huge. Like that one against Denver was massive. Like that one against Denver was a game. Like they were only down 7 points. The Eagles were up, only 7 points on that 4th down play. He takes that back to the house. It's a 7-point swing right there. That was ball game. That interception on Trevor Siemian was, again, massive. Like that pick 6, like before the end of the half, like making it 27-7. Like that was those are just big game-changing plays that you need from a player. Like he's been awesome. Like I'm so excited to see this guy play this way. I haven't seen a defensive player on the Eagles play this well in a long time, so it's really cool to see. I think overall, I think takeaways is going to be a huge thing, component of this defense. They gotta turn the ball over and get takeaways. I think that what do you think about the defensive line? I feel like there's some juice missing there. I feel like this is a heavy play unit. Like this is the most invested unit on the team. And Javon Hargraves kind of went away. Fletcher Cox played okay the last 2 weeks, but I'm looking for something more from this D line.
I think it's going to be imperative, this upcoming week. But again, I think we're going to need a little bit more. Couple more sacks.
Yeah.
But I feel like they'll get back into it, but we, playing against the Saints, who were pretty banged up, you thought they would have a couple more, but they were great. Overall, they're creating some pressure. Siemian looked uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So let's try not to get Daniel Jones a 75-yard run, or let's stop Daniel Jones. Can we do that?
No, he was pressured 47% of his snaps, I think, last night against the Bucs. Like that's the formula. Just get him, like attack him. The Giants' offensive line's weak. They should be able to dominate up front. One more thing I do wanted to get to on the defensive side of the ball was TJ Edwards and Avonte Maddox contract extensions. You like what they've done there?
I felt like Avonte Maddox, something we were calling for. I know on our podcast, it was like, put him on the inside, play to player's strengths. You play him on the inside, and he's flourishing. You can recall the playback against against Carolina when that juice shows up. I think you had mentioned something on Twitter about that play about Avonte Maddox, but I think overall, I think he's earned his money, and if you got him on the inside, he'll continue to flourish. TJ Edwards, the guy who's worked his way onto this roster, and now he's got the ability to start. And some people might feel like he's a 2-down player, but hey man, cerebral play on that where he's hiding behind the line. He's looking like he's gonna blitz, comes back out, makes a hell of a play. I wonder if Howie's just like, you know what, let's reward him for his play.
He starts dialing up the contract in the press box or
He's
in the
like,
upstairs
"Hey,
in the owner's box.
can we get on that?"
That's probably what
But as a
happened.
leader, TJ
Yeah.
Edwards is. I heard a lot of people, value what he brings to the table in the locker room. So
Yeah.
quiet storm for
Mhm.
sure.
No, for sure. I think the Maddox contract I thought was a tad expensive. That was the one thing I might have some pushback on, but he's played pretty well. I don't mind locking him up, but the Goddard and all the contract extensions they've done, I thought Howie's done a pretty good job, and I'm willing to give him credit. I've been really hard on the guy. I think on the Eagles Twitter and Eagles fans and just Eagles media in general has been pretty tough on him, but I'll give him some props for what he's done. All right, Gayle, let's talk big picture before we go. We got 5-6. We got a 16-32 opponent record coming up until week 18. Washington twice, Giants twice, and the Jets. Is this Philadelphia Eagles team in the playoffs this year?
I think they have a real shot right now. Like I think this week it's imperative for the whole vibe. Like it's all about stacking dubs. If you ever played on a football team, as you get on a roll, there becomes it's just not wins. It's also confidence. It's also about team unity. If you can stack this dub this week, I think they got a good shot to make the playoffs because I feel like, Jalen Hurts is in his bag right now, especially with the running attack, the way they're running the football. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the season, when everyone's banged up and tired, it's about physicality. As they continue to show this kind of running ability from this offense, and then Jalen Hurts, getting in his bag in the passing game a little bit more. I think that they could take a run. I'm seeing confidence. I'm seeing that they're having fun. I feel like they're in a good headspace at this moment.
Yeah. So the way I looked at it is, I think they gotta take both games from the Giants. I think this is a bad matchup for the Giants. The Giants are 30th in run defense DVOA right now. I think this is a good opportunity for the Eagles to kind of run all over them here, going, and then you get the Jets. So you could be 7-6 probably at the bye. I think Washington, they split one of those games. Like, just win one of them. Don't go down 2-0 to them. And then look, if you beat Washington twice, or beat the Giants twice, beat the Jets, and Washington once, you're 4-1 in those 5-game stretches right there. Like, you are going to be 9-7 in going into week 8 or week 18, and that's playoffs. If you're 9-7 going into week 18, you're making the playoffs.
And then if the Cowboys sit their players, if they're riding high and they're like, "Hey, we got this,"
Yeah, like I think 9-8 gets you in. And the Eagles have tiebreakers. They got a tiebreaker over the Saints. You got a tiebreaker over the Falcons. I don't know if the Falcons are going to do much. You got a tiebreaker over the Carolina Panthers. Like, you got tiebreakers here. I know the 49ers have one over you, but I think 9-7 it should be the goal for this team going into week 18.
And I'm just going back to QB play. You look at the QBs that we've played and are faced. Elite quarterbacks have been our weaknesses.
Yeah.
That's like, none of these quarterbacks coming up scare me.
No.
In terms of eliteness. So I mean, that's like it's in favor. On paper, it looks great. But from what I'm seeing on the field, hey man, they got their first home W. They're riding high. They're getting turnovers. Players are stepping up, making big plays. They're progressing, and the fertilizing is starting to blossom. So you got flowers in the background there.
I put them there just for this podcast. They're 3-1, man, since that speech. Is that a coincidence? I don't know.
Hey, we started giving out flowers at the tailgate, and I said, "Hey, yo, hey, the vibe is right now, so we're going with the flower power." I might even pull out a ski mask with a flower on the ski mask.
That would look good, 100%.
I actually bought some last night.
So you're just teasing it.
I am making them.
You did it.
I am making them. So.
All right, Gayle, this is fun. Before you go, why don't you plug in anything you want the listeners to take a look at?
You can check us out, the Fourth and Jawn podcast, if you're at home games and you want to tailgate with a bunch of great people down there at the link. Check us out, the Fourth and Jawn tailgate. We're in parking lot G2. Shout out to my guys Prime and Evan Hollywood Hearn on the podcast, Chris Malley. I mean, overall, man, we're always riding high with the Eagles, good or bad. We're there through it all. You can check us out at Fourth and Jawn on all socials, fourthandjawn.com. But also want to say, man, I appreciate you having me on, and I'm loving what you're doing, Brendan. You've been killing it since day one. since I met you. You've been flourishing, and I'm proud to see you do your thing, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You've been awesome. Make sure to check out Fourth and Jawn. Great guys there. Thanks for hosting the tailgate. We had a ton of fun. Week 2, coming all the way from Canada to see you guys. And definitely we'll be back next year. And make sure to check out Double Learn Podcast episode yesterday. We'll have another episode tomorrow. And then Thomas Peterson of Breaking the Birds will be back on Thursday. And we will talk to you later.